Hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday night, one of the top 7 best nights of the week. Tonight is our American Sci-Fi Classics Track quarantine panel night. And you may say, why do you still call them quarantine panels? Because some people on the planet aren't in quarantine anymore. And I say to those people, shut up. We'll call it what we want.
Tradition.
Tradition.
Yeah.
Anything white people have been doing for over a year is a tradition.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, at DragonCon or any sci-fi convention at all, once you start doing something, you have to do it for 25 to 30 years. So
Trashy.
we're
Look at Trashy.
We're just getting started with these things. So tonight, because it is a mere few days after the Day of the Father, if you will, here in the Americas, we're going to celebrate and talk about fathers in sci-fi, fantasy, horror, and of course, the 2 best fathers, according to our the title of our panel, Darth Vader and Darkseid, which we'll get to. But first, let's introduce all of our distinguished fatherly expert panelists, starting with Kevin.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm back. Good to be here on the quarantine panel again. And I feel like it'll always be the quarantine in my heart, you know.
Thank you.
So it's fine. I'm a podcaster. My show is called The Flopcast. There's the address, part of the ESO network. And we just do ridiculous stuff like this every week.
Every single week. And 2 internets away from me, to my left, 2 internets to my left. Wait. Anyway, over there, top row, the other guy that's not Kevin or me, Gary Mitchell.
Hi, Joe. I'm getting a message on Facebook that says we're having trouble playing this video, so I'm not sure if people can watch.
Son of a... I'll see what I can do.
Technical issues. It wouldn't be a DragonCon thing without technical issues.
Learn more. I don't want to learn anymore.
It's midsummer. Blame the fairies.
There we go. Yes, happy solstice to all our pagan people.
Woo!
Oh, Madison sees it. Hi, Madison. I love you. But yes, I am Gary Mitchell, and I do this every week with him. Excuse me, Kevin. I'm gonna reach behind you, lean forward a little. With him. And yeah, so this is fun. All right. So apparently some people can see it on the YouTube, and some people can see it on the Facebook.
If you can see it on the YouTube, now, well, I'm on the Facebook now, and a buddy of mine is also doing a live thing completely separate from our thing. And we're having trouble playing the video is popping up for him too.
Well, you see, that's the problem. He needs to not do his thing till we're done.
Yeah. He's breaking the internet. That's exactly it.
Well, and we're the coolest game in town. Why would anyone go anywhere else?
I honestly don't know. I don't have an answer.
All right. Well, anyway, so yes, I'm Gary Mitchell. I am an adoptive father, and that I think is the only qualification I've got for being here. That and Joe won't let me get away.
No. As with everyone on our panels, you've all signed contracts in blood. And don't worry, it's not your blood.
Right.
And one internet south of Gary, Elizabeth.
Hi, guys. It's me, the internet ghost again. How are you all this evening? I'm very glad to be doing this panel because, believe it or not, I have a BA I don't use in psychology, so I'm well versed with daddy issues.
Have
fun, everyone.
One internet south of me, Miss Leigh. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fabulous.
It's weird. I'm Leigh. I am one half of the Salacious Crumbles. You can find us on Bandcamp. And I'm here because I have a lot of feelings about dads in fiction, and specifically Batman.
I like it.
Okay. I have a I'd like to start. Well, you know what, Gary? Let's do
Yes.
this. Here is a thing that we were doing last week for my birthday. We were reading questions that our awesome watchers and viewers and listeners sent in, and we ran out of time because, we are gregarious and talkative. So let's answer another one, and then we'll get to the topic du jour.
Okay.
Is somebody's cat tap dancing on their laptop or something? There's some kind of very loud noises happening. Okay.
It's not Hex. She's over there.
It might be my fidget toy. I'm sorry.
Oh, that would explain.
Sorry about that.
Fidget. All right. So, Joe.
Yep.
Most of these questions are fairly long, but I am going to pick what should be a quick one, which means it won't be a manimal question. Sorry, Joe. But all right, so Joe, odd or even?
Very odd.
All right, so the question you dodged was heart beeps with Andy Kaufman.
That's a good dodge. That is a bullet dodged.
And the question you will now have to answer is, what is it exactly about the everlasting power and unending presence of the almighty Twinkie?
Okay. Twinkies have lasted as long as they have pop culturally. First of all, because you can leave a Twinkie and there's like a nuclear half-life. The things are good for like 40 years. And somehow, back in the 70s, as many of us probably know, they had the genius idea of going to the comic book people and saying, you know what, why don't you write comics for us, but with Twinkies in them? And those things, to this day, are hilarious. And we have here on the American Sci-Fi Classics Track done some dramatic readings of those things. Check those out on our YouTube under Fruit Pie Theater. And we're going to keep doing those because there are an unlimited number of them.
We barely scratched the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Barely scratched the surface.
It's made me realize what a terrible actor I am.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
That's been my Fruit Pie Theater experience.
But the one of my favorite episodes, my favorite titles was Spidey Spoils a Snatch. Gary, I believe you recall that one. And there was also one where literally Thor, the mighty Thor, fought a family of space hillbillies.
Yes.
Yes.
That one was quite good. I think
That
my
sounds
favorite
amazing.
is... Oh, it was...
For
I
a
think-
Twinkie or with a Twinkie?
4. Or I know, actually, he defeated them with the Twinkie, if I remember
He
correctly.
defeated the Twinkies, yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think
All right,
my
I had to
favorite
go.
is the one where the Incredible Hulk straight up murders 4 roller disco robbers.
He is so angry, him being the Hulk, he rolls them up into the asphalt.
Into a Swiss roll, yes.
Yeah. He rolls them up in asphalt, and all you see is their screaming heads as he's rolling. It's amazing.
Hmm. I believe we did that one, so yes.
I think we did. Yeah. But we'll post links to that and everything else. You gotta just examine our YouTube. We have many hours of silliness for you guys to come and watch.
Share, subscribe.
Like that. Look at that.
As our good friend Ryan Cadaver would say, smash that like button.
That's so love it. All right, yes, please do that.
If we can get like 1,000 followers, we can start trying to monetize this thing.
Oh, I'm gonna give you every nickel, Gary Mitchell. Every penny.
So I'm gonna get 2 nickels.
3 if we're lucky. So
Yeah,
now,
but more than 2, I won't know what to do with them. 2 you can rub together.
with 3.
What is that third one's like a third wheel? What do you do with it?
With 3, you can do that thing that Fonzie used to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So our topic.
For everybody had Fonzie at 9 minutes. collect your winnings at the front.
Yep.
So Fonzie. Wait. We're talking about Fonzie. We're talking.
Well,
about,
is he a dad?
I mean, probably.
Did they do a very special episode?
They should have.
I mean, probably. Some point.
Whether he knows it or not.
He was almost an adoptive dad because they had the genius wink idea of engaging him to a woman, and she already had a child. And then in between seasons, she just left with no explanation.
Yeah, it was the girl from Poltergeist.
Yes.
Was the little girl, Heather O'Rourke.
And
I am not surprised you know this off the top of your head.
off the dome, right there. So
Wasn't Chachi his kid?
Cousin.
Technically? Cousin?
Cousins,
Cousin.
yeah.
Yeah, his cousin.
Then there was also Spike. There was like a little miniature Fonz kid named Spike.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a whole other panel now.
whole other panel.
Fonzie and his illegitimate children.
Yeah. But in Fonzie's world, you're talking the dad of that show, of course. That's Howard Cunningham. That's the great Tom Bosley, one of the all-time great dads.
Legend.
Oh, yeah.
The legend, Tom Bosley. So, great dads, sci-fi, fantasy, horror. Let's start with Kevin.
All right. Well, I guess we might as well start with the guy in the name of the panel who's right behind me.
Yeah.
So, let's go Darth. Who kind of goes hand in hand with Darkseid. You can kind of talk about them together, I suppose, because
I do
in a way, Darkseid is really Darth Vader's father. Arguably.
I'm gonna have to argue about the Darkseid Darth Vader comparison because underneath all of the Darth Vader armor and the trauma is literally a small boy who was groomed to be Darth Vader. And had he not been groomed, he would have been an amazing stay-at-home dad who had quit the Jedi Order.
Oh, sure.
So, like, I don't know. I feel like comparing him to Darkseid as a dad is a little unfair.
Darkseid has for a number of years on revolutionsf.com, a site where I've met many of you guys for the first time, and what led to us doing these panels and being co-directors of the American Sci-Fi Classics Track. Every year I would do an article called Sci-Fi Dads, and I got mean letters when I put Darth Vader and Darkseid on the list of best dads. And they were like, "Have you not read those comics?" I'm like, yeah, sure did. But anyway,
I mean, they certainly had their different styles of parenting.
Yeah.
But the similarities, though, in that I think Lucas was pretty influenced by Kirby's Fourth World stuff, because there's at least some parallels. I mean, just visually,
that's not surprising.
Visually, you look at the two of them, and then the idea that the hero is unknowingly the son of the villain.
There is
Orion and Luke, and then there's the Force, and in Kirby's Fourth World stuff, it's the Source.
It literally rhymes.
Yeah.
That's very true.
They might as well have called it the Schwartz.
Yep. And I'm sure the internet fan fiction is out there of Darth versus Darkseid.
Yeah.
I certainly hope so.
I want the Death Star trying to blow up Apocalypse.
Rule 34.
Yep. Now I have seen, and it's been floating around the internet for ages. Someone wrote fan fiction of what if Anakin found out he had kids, and what if there was the whole what if instead of making him a warrior, they thrown him in being in charge of the younglings. And it was actually, it's really sweet. It's really touching. He's like, it's like, oh, this guy has attachment issues. Let's give him a bunch of kids.
Nice.
Because they'll
I've
attach.
read that.
Yes.
I have read that particular Tumblr post. It is very long, but very worth it.
Yes.
And it details the fact that Palpatine keeps trying to get in touch with him, and everybody's like, no, he's busy. He's got younglings. Bye.
Yeah.
Like, and it's very enjoyable. I don't have the link to it, unfortunately. It's probably a legacy post somewhere, but it's like a heritage Tumblr post, but like it is very good.
Yes. I'm sure if you search for it, you can find it. But I want to submit that he's not a great dad, though, because Darth Vader doesn't have a dad bod.
Indeed. Well, let's see. Luckily, he didn't take off all of his armor.
Yeah, he barely has a bod at all, right? Most of it melted away in the lava or whatever.
Too soon, Gary.
Yes.
But I respect the dad skills of Vader for not knowing where his children were, but even though one of them went to live with relatives of his.
Yes.
He was never going back to Tatooine. That boy hated
his
sand.
own mother used to live, and they even kept his last name.
Well, you know how he feels about sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what I cannot get over. He looked Leia in the face. Leia looks like Padme and acts like Anakin, and there was no he has the Force. There was no recognition. What happened? Other than like you know not having the ability of retroactive continuity in that regard.
Well, that's the main reason is she wasn't his daughter until like the third one.
Right.
But yeah, it's and I just figure, you know, we can always say that he did notice, and that's why he killed everyone else on the ship and said, "No, bring me the passengers. I want them alive." And, you know, didn't torture her that hard because, you know, she didn't give up the information on the hidden rebel base.
And he might not have been looking her directly in the eye if he was too distracted by the cinnamon bun things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, so Madison, that is the post.
Yes, I was about to say, Madison, that is exactly the post. It's
how did I know it was Diane Duane?
But yes, it is a beautiful read. Take a few minutes.
I will include that
in
our show notes afterward. I wanted to, in those the articles that I mentioned, my co-founder, our longtime buddy, Shane Ivey, brand new Canadian Shane Ivey, he wrote a Father's Day card from Darth Vader to Luke. And I would like to from Luke to Darth. I would like to read that for you guys right now.
Oh, no.
You showed me how much you love fighting, and you forced through furniture at my head. But when I was getting killed with lightning, you beat the other guy down instead. Thanks, Dad, for everything you do. Happy Father's Day.
Wotaj makes a good point about not going back to Tatooine in an all-black outfit.
Nobody knows.
Well, and wouldn't the sand just get into all of his mech?
Well, as we know, he says it gets into everything.
Yeah. Guys, I want you to know that my cat heard his name. This is Anakin.
Oh,
hello, Anakin.
Hi, baby. Hex and I, she's a black cat too.
Yep.
Yay! He heard his name. And
we definitely know, though, he does have the strong dad instincts because he tried to get his kid into the family business, nepotism in action.
Sure.
And was going to, hey, you know, we'll get my boss fired and now you can work directly for me.
So, Gary.
You know, so now it's Darth, you know, Death Star, now Vader and Son.
Yes. See, I think of Jacob and Sons from Jacob and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Vader and Son.
As we've established, the kids come to the Classics Track for their Sanford and Son references.
That's
yes.
2 weeks in a row.
See, you said that, I just thought.
Okay, Joe.
Padme!
I'm coming.
It's the big one, Padme!
See, now either I have to completely stop or Sanford and Son is going to be my manimal.
We can make that happen.
Oh, God.
So, Gary.
Yes. Oh, next, right. Well, I am going to not go with the other name in our title, which is Darth to Darkseid. I am actually going to go with Darkseid's ripoff, Thanos.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, what father wouldn't replace pieces of his child's body with cybernetics because she didn't defeat her other sister and tear her apart piece by piece to see into another timeline? I mean, you know, that's just dad stuff.
Typical dad stuff. And then the whole thing about tossing her off the cliff
Yeah.
Come on, that's just 4th of July family.
Yeah. Exactly. Everybody gets into scuffles over soul stones. I mean, come on. But
So,
he just wants the best for his daughters, as in he wants them to be the best.
He wants the best for everybody, or half of us at least.
He wants
maybe just half of us.
Even though his ultimate plan might be that one or both of them actually perishes in his plan.
Oh yeah.
That is true, because he didn't choose who lived. He just did the snap in half.
Yes.
Technically speaking, the odds were about, literally 50-50 that one of them was not going to make it. But
okay, Lola, that's just horrible. Gamora was grounded.
Why?
No.
And Madison, you are correct. It was a child fighting ring. He was doing Pokemon with his own children.
Daughter Thunderdome.
Yes. 2 daughters enter, 2 daughters leave, but one gets modified. But yeah, and before he died, at least, or the first time he died, he's like, perhaps I judged you. He tried to make amends with Nebula. Perhaps I judged you too harshly, and they were having that touching bonding moment before he was decapitated by Thor.
Yeah. It's the little things. It's the little things, the daddy-daughter moments that really make up
that in a movie series, which is, like most comics, built almost entirely around daddy issues. It's nice to have one that's a daddy-daughter issue.
There's a lot of that going on throughout the MCU. That's a good point.
Yeah.
The DCU is no better.
Well, that's true.
The DC Comics is no better because we can talk about Stephanie Brown and her relationship with her dad. Which,
we can do that. Yeah. So Elizabeth, you're up next.
Hello. I'm going to represent the other side of the nerd fight on the nerd playground of childhood, and pick my best dad from Star Trek. My best dad would actually be Data, when he creates Lal in the 3rd season episode, The Offspring. And if you don't cry during that episode, you don't have a soul. I'm sorry. Nope. I don't make the rules.
Or you're an android with a positronic brain.
Right. But I chose him because he's just so supportive of her from the beginning. He lets her choose her own form. He lets her choose her own gender. He lets her be who she wants to be. He attempts to socialize her to help her. And when that doesn't work, he sends her to the best place in the world to be socialized, a.k.a. Guinan, because Guinan knows everything. He tells Riker to back the heck off. What are your intentions for my daughter? He's a protective father. He's good. And
he's seen Riker's holodeck patterns. I mean, come on.
Yeah, come on. It is Will Riker after all. But he shows concern. He shows care. And he makes the decision at the end, be with her when her systems fail. And when her systems fail, he makes a copy of her to carry it in his own mind. And what else is a parent going to do but keep their child in their heart?
I'm kind of welling up right now. Jeez.
That makes the ending of Picard even more depressing because her and Data went away.
Yep.
Holy crap. Jeez.
Downer.
Things get dark. We just got really dark there for a minute.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, God.
Elizabeth's work here is done. So, Leigh, up next.
I'm going with Bruce Wayne. Look. All right, so
he's a dead bat dad.
He cannot stop. Touche. He cannot stop adopting children. Gary's gone. Oh no, Gary's in timeout.
He's been exiled.
Gary's in the drab room.
So Bruce Wayne cannot, to the point where it has become like an overall fandom joke to people who don't even know anything about like the larger Batman or Batman family universe. Like everybody gets the joke that he keeps adopting children and then sort of neglecting or beating up the ones he already has. So like at least 3 of the boys have been punched multiple times. Like how many times has he basically just like thrown Jason Todd off of a roof? Like it's like Dick, like he literally beat the crap out of Dick. Like
constantly.
I think Back in like the old days, constantly, but more recently in the last 10 years, like during like the New 52 stuff, like there was like a real brutal like beat up scene that was not good. He's punched Tim Drake in the face a whole bunch. Like, Bruce, stop beating your children.
You expect to see him over him going, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Why are you hitting yourself?
Right.
Let's notice that Bruce, as Batman, dresses to hide in the shadows. Meanwhile, he splatters the kids in bright primary colors to
in
draw
red,
all
green, and yellow.
To draw all the gunfire.
Yeah, they're sidekick distraction.
Right. Not A+ parenting skills.
No.
Not good.
Yeah, and I hate. No, I don't. I don't hate to mention again. There's another Tumblr post going around of Bruce Wayne meeting like Peter Parker and like, wait a minute, you're poor. You need someone to help you. Pulling out the bad adoption papers.
Yes.
Whipping the adoption papers out of his utility belt. Oh, you like to fight, say?
Right.
Oh, I love him.
Like he neglects like the children he has already adopted so much that his favorite Robin is Jarro. The tiny Starro in a jar is his favorite Robin. Not Dick, not Tim, not Damian.
Very recent and very fun.
Starro. It's fun, but it does not denote good fatherhood.
Madison, you need to do Baby Merchant Twisted for Wayne Enterprises.
Yes, we need to do that.
Bat Baby Merchant.
Bat Baby Merchant. Robins are us. Yeah, so
one sale.
Anybody who doesn't get what we're talking about, look for Cockbrock Baby Merchant, or I believe Madison's actually covered the original song.
She has. So she definitely has.
So let's see. We that was Leigh. We'll get back around to Gary in a second. I did want to. I want to make sure that I don't forget to mention Darkseid because. As a father, he, as we've established, is, some would say, terrible. But let's say this. Here's the thing. Think about the plight of the children of Darkseid and Highfather, because in the building block, the very first story, more or less, is they exchange children for peace. So both Orion and Mr. Miracle, Orion, Darkseid's son, Mr. Miracle, Highfather's kiddo, they both end up being good guys. However, Orion gets to have a lovely childhood on New Genesis, like jumping on trampolines with angels, and meanwhile, Highfather's kid, he says to him, this is for peace, son. So I'm going to need you to just go hang out on Apocalypse, a planet literally named after the end of everything. And it'll be fine. It's for peace. Go ahead and do it for your old dad. And so then little Mr. Miracle has to grow up in the slave pits. And it doesn't really it turns out well for him eventually when he becomes a grown-up. But, and
he met his wife there.
Yeah, he gets a giant wife.
Giant badass wife.
Yeah.
Yes, she is
awesome.
Super badass. She is super badass. So, it's maybe Darkseid was right all along.
It all worked out.
Darkseid is.
So, Kevin, up next.
Oh, let's see. Well, I guess we could really mix it up and go a whole different way now, because I thought really one of the arguably most successful fathers in pop culture history would be,
man,
Oh,
Papa's, how many kids does he even have?
So many questions.
They go on and on. Yeah, where do they come from? I don't know. I don't go too deep on the specifics of Smurf mythology.
Biology?
Or biology, yeah. Physiology would be more appropriate. So I don't really know what's going on, but something's going on in that forest. And
something's happening.
End up with a dad to a whole village.
I mean, 99 Smurfs, I believe, or was it 101? There was some number that it always had to stay constant because of course, they eventually added Smurfs, but they never said, "Oh, now we have 107." They always kept saying, "We still have 99." What is happening?
They'd kick them out. It was like Menudo. If you bring in new ones, older Smurfs got to go.
That's right. Boom. And
Smurf.
You got to get those. You got to rotate the Smurfs, man. You got to keep the Smurfs rotating.
Yeah, keep them fresh.
You got to keep those Smurfs fresh. I love Papa Smurf. My favorite Papa Smurf scene is on one of their quest episodes that lasted like over the course of the hour and a half, and they're going on some journey, and one of the Smurfs, pick one. I don't recall. Keeps asking. Hefty. Let's say it's Hefty. He keeps asking, "How much further? Is it much further?" And Papa very patiently and politely goes just a little bit further, and then the Smurf guy goes, "How much is it much farther now, Papa Smurf?" And then Papa Smurf finally yells, "Yes, it's much farther."
Yeah.
Even Papa Smurf had enough.
He had his limits.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. Was there a Papa Snork, or was it just under the sea, anything goes, just bedlam?
I don't think they. I don't think they had a Papa Snork. No,
I don't think they did.
Seriously?
Utter
They
chaos.
can only rip off the Smurfs so far.
Yeah, that's Hex.
Utter chaos under the sea.
Is that cat named Snork? I saw another cat.
There were
in the picture
also,
with
though,
Elizabeth.
more Lady Snorks than there were Lady Smurfs.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
She's
More
being
than
quite
one.
insistent. No, that's Hex.
Hello, Hex.
Hex is actually named after a Doctor Who character, so.
Cool.
Right. And in our Facebook chat, I found and I have posted both the Batman attempts to adopt Spider-Man and what if Batman ran into Zuko and tried to adopt him.
Yes.
Both
So,
are quite
Elizabeth,
hilarious.
Make the adoption stopped. Somebody call social services, please.
I did casework. There's some things even they can't help. How modern am I allowed to get with this?
5 minutes ago.
We'll see. Yeah.
Okay, so the parent-child relationship can be very complicated. And some parents say, "Oh, I would do anything for my child. I would move heaven and earth for my child." But can you really consider yourself a good dad if you're not willing to continue? I can't talk today, sorry. Can you really consider yourself a good dad if you're not willing to kidnap your son from another universe, nearly destroy 2 universes in the process, lose your own sanity for a while, and then go to the future to save him so he can live happily ever after? If the answer is no, you're probably not Walter Bishop. Walter Bishop from Fringe, I love him. John Noble is amazing. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Walter, how'd you say that?" Because I actually found him on a worst fathers list. But I think the person who said that is missing the point of the series. Walter's a very flawed man, but he deeply loves his son. He loves his son so much that he's willing to take care of another version of his son that's not really his son. But he loves him enough that he'll take care of him. To me, that's a parent. You're going to love your son, your child, regardless. And it's not just Peter either, because Olivia's stepfather, in the first season, we never come back to it, I don't know why. But in the first season, it's revealed that Olivia's biological father is absent, and she kind of shot her stepfather. So, yeah, she did. We never came back to that. But in a way, you can see him in the flashbacks where he's experimenting on child Olivia, but he's also standing in as a father figure. So I think Walter deserves more. I can't talk today, guys. I'm sorry, it's brain. I think Walter deserves more credit. He is not the world's worst dad. He's good intentioned, but unfortunately, he had the power to back up his crazy and made everyone else crazy.
So let's. We have a late arriving guest right now, and from the Good Bad Nerdy Pod, our friend Tom Morris. How are you, sir?
Hey, sorry I'm late. Dad life.
Dad life.
Dad life.
That is right. So let's see. Let's go to Leigh next.
So Lola just mentioned my next pick, which is John Winchester from Supernatural.
Nice.
Who is he's a He's a character, John Winchester. John Winchester's wife was burned alive on a ceiling by a demon, and then decided to drag his two very young sons all over the country hunting monsters to find out what did it, without thinking that maybe you don't want to take your very young sons into horrible situations. Also, he was a terrible hunter. Everyone touted him as this amazing hunter, but as the series goes on and all of his flaws are kind of revealed, you really get the sense that he was kind of shite at it. And those two boys paid the price big time.
What I love about a buddy of ours, or a friend of the Sci-Fi Classics Track, she is a super fan of the actor who plays John Winchester, and
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, right?
And Jeffrey Dean Morgan is great. He's good. He's great in everything. But I've only finished watching Supernatural this year. And so over the course of the pandemic, I watched 15 years of Supernatural, and I was led to believe before watching that John Winchester had a far larger part in the show than he did. I mean, they mentioned him pretty often, but he only really appeared 4 or 5 times.
But his presence was felt throughout the entire series.
Yeah. And that's a pretty sweet gig as an actor if you don't actually have to come to work.
Right.
Paid to not work.
But I mean, between selling your soul to save one of your sons and kicking off a horrible pattern of everybody selling their souls to save each other,
lots of selling,
emotionally scarring your oldest son for life, from basically making him be a mother figure and an adult at the age of 4, throwing your younger son out of the house because he wanted to go to college. The list goes on.
So Tom just jumped in. So let's give Tom one turn, and then I'll get back to Mr. Gary.
All right, so mine's also comic related, but it's not that he's a bad dad. He just tends to get way too distracted. And I'm talking about Reed Richards.
Okay.
Because let's be honest, Franklin Richards is the most powerful person in the Marvel universe. He can literally create pocket universes when he gets upset. So sometimes Reed's like, let's keep Leech around him so he doesn't use his powers. I won't tell him that. Or maybe I should be paying attention when Franklin's melting Herbie. So, yeah. Admittedly, his dad is Nathaniel Richards, who may or may not be Kang in different alternate timelines.
He probably is Kang. Let's just go.
Yeah,
it so seems like something that would happen. It's probably Kang.
Yeah. So let's say Reed's not a bad dad, but he constantly is more worried about his ex-best friend Doom than he is his son, who could literally melt half the universe if he got upset. So,
Reed, I need you to change Franklin's diapers, but I'm invading the negative zone, Sue.
Exactly. And she says, and then Sue, of course, would say, "That's what I mean. I need you to change his diapers."
They hired Dragon Man as a nanny.
They did that.
They did that. And we also have a lot of people don't know about Valeria, which is another, not the Franklin wanted a sister, so he created her. And she's as smart as Reed, but she thinks Doom's the cool one. So not exactly being the best dad if his 2-year-old daughter who has insane intelligence thinks Uncle Doom is the better guy. So
another thing, I don't know. So I'm watching Supernatural over the pandemic. Oddly enough, I also went back and read a bunch of old Fantastic Four comics for the first time. Some of them. And it turns out in the early 70s, Franklin's already born. He's had his first power outbreak, and done something amazing with his awesome powers. And Reed Richards puts Franklin into a coma. He renders him brain dead for years.
Yes.
This truly this actually happens on the page. He said Franklin's too powerful. I'm going to shut him down. And
he keeps doing it.
Well, it's a timeout. Everybody wants to put their kid in timeout.
He is in a timeout and then that leads to the Invisible Woman leaving him as she should have and taking the brain dead Franklin Richards with her for I think it was a couple of years in actual publication time.
Yep.
And
good for her,
the
man.
90s.
She should have stayed gone.
Oh, they split up all the time. It's like the
they really did that. Yeah,
the Fantastic Four is like most of their stories about them getting mad and one of them's storming off. I mean, literally storming off. Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're talking, it's not like Twin Peaks bad, but it's crazy. So,
but Reed never made any of the other members brain dead except his actual child.
Yeah.
So I think we're in like Father of the Year category right now.
I mean, the other equivalent has to be Professor X.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Legion got the short end of the dad stick, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He really did. He now we did on the Legion TV show. Professor X eventually shows up, or did he?
Sort of.
Okay.
They heavily imply it. There's a chalk stick figure.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
It's like they didn't want to pay Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy to appear, but that's what they were kind of implying. Oh, look, there's a wheelchair.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, but yeah, the Legion show is excellent and highly recommended.
Right,
but
yeah. And we
Professor X is, and again, we could spend, and I think there have been whole podcasts just about how awful Professor X is.
I'm going to throw all of my
He's a
surrogate
bad person.
I'm going to throw all my surrogate children into the danger room and attempt to kill them all.
I'm going to constantly mind wipe them if they get mad about something I've done.
That's fun. Yeah, that's a nice trick that Professor X likes to do.
Oh, Scott, you didn't know you had a third brother that we lost in a mission because I erased your memories. Oh, yeah, we did that. Oh, I erased Gene's memories multiple times. Oh,
multiple times.
Yeah.
It's good, clean fun.
Yeah, Marvel doesn't have bad dads a lot of time, but they're not exactly good dads.
I mean, they have Scott Summers. Scott, not good.
Bad another one, another awful one, because he. Now this is the lead character of the X-Men until Wolverine, but he literally left his actual wife to rejoin the X-Men.
Yeah,
it's a whole thing.
And his baby. Yeah.
Who, by the way, is a clone of the.
Yeah.
See. Good job, Marvel Comics.
He left.
Maddie Pryor.
We're not opening the can of worms called Cable right now.
No. Whole different convention.
They've made it even weirder now. Have you heard about the summer compound on the moon now? Right?
No. Never mind. We're not doing that. Gary, you're up next.
Yes. I was tempted to.
It's too much. Gary, go.
I was tempted to go with John Saxon from Nightmare on Elm Street and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, but he doesn't even get a first name. He's just Lieutenant Thompson, but he's a good stand-in for all the parents of Nightmare on Elm Street where, let's track a guy down and burn him to death and then drug our kids so they don't dream, so that they don't get killed. I can see that sort of being. But actually, I'm going to go with, because when we think of Reed Richards, I can't help but think of Professor Impossible from the Venture Brothers, and where they have the Sue Storm go, "What's more important than your children?" And he goes, "Science,
super science."
But no, I have to go with Rusty Venture, Dr. Venture himself.
Yeah,
you really have to love your kids to clone them indefinitely in case one of them happens to have an oopsie, he fell into a pit and died, or oopsie, he jumped off the top of the building trying to use a trying to use a umbrella as a hang glider because he was in a Batman costume. Yeah, I mean, they had a whole army of clones of his children because he was that dedicated to staying a father.
One of the most stunning revelations of in animation or sci-fi history. I was like, what? Because I remember when it happened, Gary, because we were...
Well, the season 1 of the Venture Brothers ends with 21 and 24 straight up murdering Hank and Dean. And I remember staring at the screen going...
Because cartoon series don't come back in like live action series. They don't come back in like 2 months or 3 months. It was like a year or more before we got that next season. So we had no idea. We just assumed, okay, so they're dead? Is that what happened?
I figured, okay, there's going to be some kind of retcon, or they're not really dead, or it was a dream, or something. It's like, nope, they're dead. Matter of fact, they've been dead. This is like Hank and Dean number 33.
Yeah, Brock's not actually good bounty protector.
No, I mean, I love that opening montage of like 15 different deaths of the Venture Brothers.
Classic.
And Brock is also a good father figure type because he does care about the boys.
That's the difference.
He also runs around naked with a knife hunting down henchmen to kill them.
Rusty is
and
the worst.
Sergeant Hatred.
So, Kevin, let's go. Let's run back to you, sir.
Okay, let's see what else I have for you. I had, a lot of cartoons I was considering. I guess I'm going to go back to a cartoon because here's a super goofy sci-fi dad from animation. How about George Jetson?
Nice.
Aww.
See, he's about to fire his boy out of his spaceship inside a smaller spaceship. His boy Elroy.
He just sends the boy tootling off to school in his own personal spacecraft. It's good stuff. It's great stuff.
Well, I was thinking about George Jetson today, and I was trying to decide: is he a good father, or is he just a goofy, this?
Well, he's definitely the 60s idea of a dad.
Yeah. I mean, the family seems to be doing okay, but they just seem to be swept along by the future technology advances and whatnot. And George is just literally along for the ride on the conveyor belts and whatever along with them. I don't know that he's really that he really had much to offer.
Yeah. Well, except for his wallet, which
sure.
And which his wife takes.
Yeah, and why in the however long in the future we are to get to the Jetsons, why do we still have physical wallets, people?
Jane is still using cash.
Yeah.
Physical cash money.
Ridiculous. They were using credit cards on the Flintstones. Why is Jane Jetson
credit cards made out of concrete?
No, it's my supposition.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how else is he gonna make it rain?
That's true. It's my supposition that the Flintstones is not set in the past. The Flintstones is actually set at the same time as the Jetsons, and they're just at the ground level. They're the poor, while the Jetsons are the elite.
Nice.
That makes a lot of sense. It really does.
Mind blown, Elizabeth.
I had a personal weird George Jetson thing in my sordid past, in that back in my old comedy band, at one point when we would go to do our shows, we had a giant cardboard cutout of George Jetson. It was 7 feet tall for no good reason. We would just set it up at our shows and we would perform the Jetsons theme song, and then we would just go on with the show, and just for no reason George Jetson's on stage. We did that for years, and then we actually brought him to a wedding once. And we were guests at a wedding. We thought, let's bring George Jetson in, and we set him up in the wedding reception for no reason. The DJ saw us setting up George Jetson and played the Jetsons theme. We had George Jetson up on the wall. We didn't have enough duct tape to properly secure him to the wall, and so he slowly started peeling down off the wall and then ultimately crashed on the priest.
What?
Nice.
Oh boy.
It was beautiful.
Please tell me it happened at the moment of, if anyone has any reason.
Yeah.
Speak now.
Yes. Hanna-Barbera objects to this wedding.
So let's do one more go round, and or let's finish this current go round. And Elizabeth.
Okay, this one's for all the former and in recovery goth girls like myself, still looking to find one of their own. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Gomez Addams.
Yay!
Particularly as played by Raul Julia in the movies.
Yay!
Gomez is a great dad because he just wants everyone to be happy.
Mhm.
Even if that's doing something terrible, if you're doing what you want to do, it's good with him. And he's madly, passionately in love with his wife, which what girl doesn't want that? And he's supportive of his children, even when they're trying to kill their younger siblings.
Yeah.
And he has his own hobbies, and he's a family man. He wants his family to be happy. That's what mostly attracts me about him is he's fun, and he doesn't care what anyone else thinks, which is something I aspire to in this life. And that's why I say Gomez.
Indeed, I agree 100%. We seem to keep Gomez Addams seems to keep coming up on.
How can he not?
He's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So Leigh,
I want one.
So I was trying to think of a father figure that's not like totally irredeemable, and like I keep going back to like Wolverine before all of the Dakin and Laura Kinney and Gabby stuff happened, because he took a look at little kids like Kitty Pryde and Jubilee and was just like, somebody has to do something or they're just going to straight die. Like, little girls are just going to die unless someone teaches them how to punch somebody properly. So, like, I feel like Wolverine, a good dad Wolverine is a lot of fun.
It's interesting to me, and now that you say that, I had thought about Wolverine in this role, but he, pardon me, as many teenage girl sidekicks as he had, no one ever went there or even suggested that Wolverine that there was anything inappropriate going on, or that anybody was crushing on him like Terra and Deathstroke over in DC. There was none of that. Wolverine.
I mean, there was one issue with Kitty Pryde where she admitted to something, but we don't talk about that anymore.
Yeah, that's weird.
No.
But beyond that, Wolverine's just a good dude who's just trying to help out with Jubilee and Kitty Pryde and
Arbor. Yeah. Like, he just really wants them to live. Like, he just doesn't want them to die. Like, there's this great scene in one of the comics. It's a flashback, I think, in one of the old Excaliburs, where he's like teaching Kitty how to do like Israeli kung fu, and he's just like, this is how you do this. This is how you not die. This is how you murder somebody else. Like, it's really like, good dad Wolverine is great.
I really like if we're talking Wolverine in the cartoon version of X-Men Evolution, when Wolverine is trying to teach Kitty to drive. That stuff is hilarious.
God.
It was like me and my dad. It's like me and my dad in the car. And that's what made it so relatable.
So, as often happens with panels like this, we get to the very end, close to the end, we realize that we could keep doing these for another few hours. Or like we did with fictional bands, we could just do a whole month of these. But Gary, hit us with one more.
Well, my two runners-up are Mufasa.
Sure.
Standing in for all the Disney dads. Then and the Mandalorian, is a very good dad. But my final pick is probably I am gonna have to go with Ulysses Everett McGill from you know where.
He's the paterfamilias.
Yes, he's the paterfamilias. He broke out of prison to get back with his wife to raise his children.
He was hit by a train.
I ain't your daddy. He was hit by a train. I wasn't hit by no train. Mm-hmm. Like, he gets himself banned from Woolworth, although we're not sure if it's just the one Woolworth or all the Woolworths.
That's right.
I think it would be all.
Yeah. I mean, he puts himself at risk of going to prison until like 1984.
Yeah.
And then his two buddies as well. I'll only be 82.
So
What's
great.
impressive during the time period that movie is set is that he has all girls.
Yes.
And he's still willing to risk life and limb to be with them and raise them when that was not really a popular thing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
it would have been much more popular if he'd had at least one son.
He has
Right.
9 girls.
9 girls.
Well,
Stand-up dude wants to go raise 9 girls, you
And
know?
if you pay attention, they're all like based on the age that she got pregnant literally every 9 months.
Right.
Because he kept trying for that boy, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's George Clooney. Come on.
Yeah, that's true too. I mean, but yeah, he is definitely a standout dad, and I could not have us, especially having mentioned the Battle of the Bands panels, to not bring up.
Yeah, you gotta throw in.
It all comes back.
It all comes back to the soggy
Oh.
bottom
Bottom
boys.
boys.
So, Tom, you got one more?
This is one for worst dad and Leland Palmer.
Mm.
From
Oh,
Twin Peaks.
no.
Now, admittedly, you can't entirely blame him if you know what's actually going on, but when what you know, bad dad. Speaking of dad life,
Come on, who doesn't wrap their kid in plastic?
Yeah.
who doesn't dance mysteriously upset all the time? I mean, it's we can't even go into the really bad parts of it because unfortunately my son keeps running around, so I can't really go into the real details here. Come sit here.
Yeah, maybe
I
don't
also
do
have a really good dad one, which I don't think we've mentioned. Mr. Banks.
Mm.
Sure.
Even though you think he's not a bad dad, he's actually. I mean, growing up being a dad, Mr. Banks is actually a pretty nice guy. He's just drunk a lot of the time.
Oh, sure. It happens. I wanted to close us out with my favorite dad of all of the sci-fi and fantasy realms. And usually when kids ask for a pet, the parents get all squirrely, worrying about responsibility and litter boxes, but not Zontar, father of the Herculoids.
Yes. He got his kids dinosaurs that shoot red pellets.
Little shirtless Darno asks for a pet. Daddy gets him a giant gorilla made out of rocks, a 16-legged triceratops that shoots fireballs out of his horns, a dragon with heat vision, and then the 2 glob things that go wiggy, 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 wiggy. He's the awesomest dad ever. Best one.
Yep.
That man let Damien have a cow.
1 cow. Did that cow have
How many dead
vision?
Robins have there been? I would say Alfred's the good
All of
dad.
them. All of them now. All 5 of them have died.
That's right.
At least once.
At least
At
once.
least once.
Darno never wore a shirt, never died.
Never let his kids die.
I'm saying Zontar is the best one. So let's do this. Where can you be found on the internet should you wish to be found? Kevin.
Yeah, please do find me. You can find me. My podcast is called The Flopcast, and we are at flopcast.net. We're also on the ESO network, and we just talk about silly, goofy, weird pop culture stuff of the past and giggle about it incessantly every week.
And I'm going to skip ahead to Tom.
I've got my podcast, The Good, the Bad, and the Nerdy Movie Podcast. We recently actually just did an episode on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? So check us out. We've been doing some of the Coen Brothers, and we're going to get back on our 1990s series. So thanks for having me on. I really got to get these kids to bed.
Yeah.
Dad.
And,
Bye.
and Elizabeth.
Again, I am the internet ghost. I do not really have a presence. The most popular place you can find me is on my Facebook page, where I do occasionally embarrass all the normies on there by talking about nerdy stuff.
Nice.
But I don't really have an online internet presence because I'm pretty sure my school kids at work would probably find it and make fun of Miss Elizabeth. So
Probably. And Lee.
You can find my music at deliciouscrumbles.bandcamp.com. And if you want to follow some nerdy musings and cat photos, you can find me at wonderlandlily.tumblr.com.
I see an orange kitty.
Oh,
Yes, that's Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
nice.
That is Obi-Wan Katnobi.
Yes.
What?
And you will be writing our Phil.
Oh, I've already started.
Yes.
It's fine.
It's already started.
It's already started. Robin
And,
Merchant Tights Are Us.
Hey, there we go.
And Mr. Gary Mitchell.
You can find me here with him. Oh, look. Hey, Joe. I'm manipulating you. You can find me on the Twitter at Gary_Mitchell. You can. So yeah, I had something else I was going to say, but that's pretty much it. You'll find me here, or at DragonCon in person.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Fanfic people, you have fan art. I need that Dad Bod Vader fan art.
Please. Dad Bod Vader fan art. As we mentioned, subscribe right there. It's right there on your screen. Go. If you're watching us on YouTube, you're already there. All you got to do is hit the
Smash that like button. Subscribe.
And if you smash it the once, then it's broken. You don't have to like anything else ever again.
Yeah. We should be the only thing you should be liking.
I mean, seriously. We're also on the Facebooks at, let's see, we're on the, you could also like us on the Facebooks. Right there, join our cool and super nerdy Classic Sci-Fi Clubhouse. And we do these every week. We are going to be in live action, having fun like this at DragonCon. We will see you there. And thank you guys again very, very much. And join us next week when Gary Mitchell will say...
But why a spoon, Joe? We're talking about 30 years of Prince of Thieves. And I will definitely grill Joe on where his British accent is.
I'm gonna find it in the next week or so. And also, I'll be doing that while quoting Bryan Adams lyrics. And
I protest. I am not a merry panelist.
Yes, thank you. I was about to say it, sir. I must protest. I am not
nice,
a married man.
Elizabeth. But you guys, thank you. We will see you very soon. Thank you to all the
Thank you.
all the
Thank
nerds
you
out in Classic Sci-Fi
allowing me to run my
Wonderland.
mouth again.
We will talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.